A football shirt has about 90 minutes to introduce a country to the world. No speech, no explanation, just colors, symbols, patterns, and a few square feet of fabric. Most people see a shirt and they move on, but designers, we don't, because every line, every shape, pattern, and reference raises the same question. Why was this chosen? This 2026 World Cup, that question leads somewhere unexpected. One shirt references a battle that changed a nation. Another revives visual language from a previous generation. One reduces its message to 12 stripes. One won't even appear at this tournament at all. Hey, I'm Obon, Ufot Obon, and I'm a designer. And in this video, I want to look at 7 World Cup kits, not to rank them, not to decide which one looks best, but to understand the design decisions behind them. Because the most interesting thing about these shirts isn't what they are made of, it's what they are carrying. And once you start looking for it, you begin to realize that football shirts aren't just representing teams, they're representing ideas. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. I want to start with the only shirt in this video that changed before the tournament even began. Haiti qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 52 years at the time of this recording. And when their team's manufacturer Saeta unveiled the team's World Cup's jersey, it included artwork referencing the Battle of Valletta, the 1803 battle that helped Haiti secure independence. The illustration appeared near the lower part of the shirt and depicted figures associated with that moment in Haitian history. Then, just days before Haiti's opening match, FIFA intervened. Citing its equipment regulations, FIFA requested changes to the design. Saeta later confirmed the modifications, stating that the artwork had been intended as a tribute to Haitian history and resilience, not as a political message. The federation complied, the imagery was removed, and the revised version became the shirt that Haiti wore at the tournament. I'm not going to tell you if FIFA made the right call or not. I don't have enough information to make that judgment, and FIFA never explained which specific elements crossed the line. But here's what I know. Before Haiti had played a single minute at the World Cup, the design of its shirt had already become part of the story. And as designers, we often talk about visual communication as though it's theoretical. But this one wasn't, because a design decision changed the final version of a product seen on football's biggest stage. That's what makes this chapter remarkable. Not the match results, not the tournament. The fact that a piece of design generated a conversation large enough to reshape the design itself. And for a brief moment, people paid attention to what it was saying. Now, while some designs become conversations, others become continuations. Mexico is one of the hosts of the 2026 World Cup, which makes this next decision interesting. Instead of using the tournament to introduce something new, Mexico looked backwards. The home shirt draws from the country's 1998 World Cup jersey, a design remembered for imagery associated with the Piedra del Sol, often known as the Aztec sunstone. At first glance, that might not seem unusual, but redesigning something people already care about, that's one of the most difficult problems in design. Change too much and you lose what made it recognizable in the first place. Change too little and you haven't really designed anything new. The 2026 shirt sits somewhere between those two extremes. It keeps visual elements associated with the earlier design while reworking them for a different generation. The ego becomes more prominent, the details become sharper, the composition becomes cleaner, and on the back of the shirt sits a simple statement: Somos Mexico. We are Mexico. Mexico had every opportunity to create something entirely new for a home World Cup. They had the moment, the platform, the global spotlight. But instead, they looked backward. The 1998 shirt already meant something to people. So the designer decided that meaning was what's carrying forward. And that's a challenge every designer eventually faces. Not how to start from scratch, but how to decide what deserves to survive into the next version. While Mexico's shirt asks what should be carried forward, Japan asks a different question. What should be left behind? Japan's away kit is one of the simplest designs at this World Cup. At first glance, it almost feels understated. There isn't a large graphic dominating the shirt or an elaborated pattern competing for attention. Instead, the design is built around 12 vertical stripes, and that number is deliberate. According to Adidas, 11 stripes represent the players on the pitch and the 12th represents the supporters. That's the entire concept. One idea, one visual system. And most design problems can be solved by just adding something. Add another reference, add another graphics, or maybe another layer of meaning. But Japan just moved in the opposite direction. The designers took a broad idea, players and supporters, and they reduced it to something that can be understood almost immediately. No explanation required. The previous chapters approached communication in a very different way. Haiti became part of the conversation. Mexico built on an existing visual language. Japan relies on neither. It places its entire message in 12 stripes and trusts the audience to do the rest. And that's what makes the shirt memorable. Not what was added, but what was removed. Japan's shirt asks how much can be removed, but Morocco asks a different question. How much can be hidden? Most football shirts put their biggest idea front and center. It could be a graphic, a pattern, or even a symbol. Sometimes it's impossible to miss them, but Morocco took a different approach. Some of its most interesting details live around the edges, in the collar, the cuffs, basically the finishing detail that framed the shirt rather than dominating it. The 2026 collection is Morocco's first tournament cycle under Puma after replacing Nike as the federation's kit supplier. And according to launch reporting, Puma drew from traditional Moroccan craftsmanship and Amazigh heritage when developing the designs. But that's what makes this shirt fascinating. Why place some of the most distinctive details around the edges instead of putting them front and center? Because this design isn't trying to win your attention immediately. It's rewarding attention that already exists. The design doesn't announce itself from across the room. The closer you look, the more it gives. And that's a different way of thinking about communication. Not every design is trying to be immediately understood. Some are built for a second look or even a third. The kind of details that reveals themselves gradually rather than all at once. And that's what makes Morocco's shirt stand out to me. It doesn't demand attention. It rewards it. Morocco's design reveals itself in details, but Ghana takes the opposite approach. It puts the idea everywhere. Some patterns exist to support the design. In this one, it carries it. Ghana's away kit incorporates patterns inspired by kente cloth, and unlike the details hidden quietly in Morocco's shirt, this pattern isn't sitting quietly in the background. It's doing most of the visual work. For generations, kente has been known for its woven structures, geometric arrangement, and distinctive use of colors. Those characteristics appear throughout the shirt, not in one corner, not a small reference, but across the design itself. If you strip the patterns of this shirt, you have a different shirt entirely. Yes, the color palette remains, the silhouette will remain, but the identity of the shirt will be gone, because the pattern isn't functioning as decoration, it's functioning as structure. Every chapter in this video has looked at a different way of carrying meaning. Haiti used imagery, Mexico used inheritance, Japan used reduction, Morocco used detail, Ghana used repetition. The same visual language repeated across the shirt until it becomes impossible to separate the patterns from the design itself. And that's what makes this one memorable. The pattern isn't supporting the idea. The pattern is the idea. Now, Ghana's shirt builds its identity through patterns, but Belgium begins somewhere entirely different. Most football shirts borrow from history, geography, or even national symbols. Belgium borrowed from an art studio. According to launch coverage, Adidas drew inspiration from Rennes, Magritte, one of Belgium's most internationally recognized artists. That's a useful reminder that inspiration doesn't always come from your own discipline. Sometimes the most interesting references come from an entirely different creative world. A filmmaker studies photography, an architect studies nature, a product designer studies fashion, and in this case, a football shirt studies an artist. Belgium expands the search area. The earlier shirts looked to history, to inherited design language, to craft, to pattern, but Belgium looks elsewhere. And that's the lesson. Sometimes the question isn't how to develop an idea, it's where to find one in the first place. While Belgium looked outside football for inspiration, Norway looked in the opposite direction, back through time. Some design references have surprisingly long lifespan, long after the people who created them are gone, long after the world around them has changed. Designers still return to them. Norway's 2026 kit incorporates runic-inspired details, references to writing systems historically used across parts of Northern Europe, including the Norse world. Most visual trends disappears. Most design languages eventually get replaced. Yet some symbols continue finding new context centuries after they first appeared. This shirt is one example. Designers use symbols because they can carry meaning efficiently. A small shape can communicate an idea much larger than itself. What's different here is that Norway isn't introducing a new symbol. It's reusing an existing visual language, one that has survived long enough to move from history into modern design. Every chapter in this video has explored a different source of meaning: history, inheritance, reduction, craft, pattern, art. Norway adds another: symbolism. And it's a reminder that sometimes the most enduring design ideas aren't the newest ones. They are the ones people keep finding reasons to use. Now, there's one more shirt I want to show you. Not because it belongs on the list, but because it changes how I think about the entire list. Nigeria did not qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, but the design work happened anyway. Nike released a new national team collection for the cycle, including a special edition collaboration with Nigerian-born artist Olaolu Sloan. Every other shirt in this video got its 90 minutes. This one didn't. And that's the part I can't stop thinking about. As designers, it's easy to tie the value of a piece of work to where it eventually appears. Who sees it, how far it travels, what stage it reaches. This collection complicates that, because the work exists, the design exists, but the destination changed. And truly, that's why I wanted to include this kit. After spending this entire video looking at what this shirt carries, this one raises a different question. What happens when a design arrives, but the moment it was created for never does? At the beginning of this video, I said that a football shirt has about 90 minutes to introduce a country to the world. After looking at these designs, I think that undersells it. What surprised me most while researching about this shirt is how little of the story is actually about football. Again and again, the designers kept looking somewhere else, not to the sport, but beyond it. Every one of these shirts was trying to solve a different problem. What should be remembered? What should be inherited? What should be removed? What should be added? What deserved attention? Where should inspiration come from? And the answers were different, but the process was familiar. Because every designer eventually faces the same challenge. How do you take something larger than the work itself, a culture, a history, an idea, and translate it into a form that people can understand? That's what these shirts are doing. Not perfectly, not completely, but deliberately. And maybe that's what they're really carrying. Not just colors, badges, but choices, decisions about what to preserve, what to borrow, what to simplify, and what to show when the world is watching. If you enjoy looking beyond the surface of things, consider subscribing to the channel. And to everyone who has subscribed, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.